On traders, who's ready to get right back into it here? We're at swing trading. You guys know what's up. Looking into the market right now. Let's get right to the action. There's a lot going on. I'm even looking at a trade right now that we could be taking. So let's get right to the action. You guys smash the like. Let's take a look. All right. So we're looking at Tesla right now. I've been waiting for it to get towards that kind of that 188.25 level, which is the VWAP for me on the 5-minute. It just made a move towards about 188.13s here. I want it to come one more time before we could get this downside action. But taking a look at the SPY to see what's going to happen there. Are we going to get a run up, or are we going to get a cut right back down here in the SPY? I am taking some shots in some oil downside, could get crushed on those. I will let you guys know today I had a break-even trade on Valero, was able to take some profits right out the gates, but then it came back. It stopped me out. I actually lost a little bit on that, so I'm going to call it more of a break-even trade here. Just looking at the market to see what happens today. I mean, this is definitely one of those markets that's just been back and forth, back and forth. I saw today the banks getting a little bit hit, right? Was taking a look there on certain banks here. You could see that we definitely did take a little bit of a hit to the downside. Now bouncing back, and I look to see if we flush right back down in some of these banks, because I think this is very important to kind of catch. I think that everybody's kind of keeping their eyes to see if there's going to be a next contagion, right? Is there another bank that comes down here? That's what a lot of people are focusing on. So you can see Deutsche Bank was down there in the 950s, of course, with the reaction that happened on Friday. This was down there to about $9. We're going to look to see what happens in the bank. KRE was another one that I was seeing getting a little bit of an uplift. Now, as of late, did get hit there. Let's go back to Tesla. Can we get that move there towards the 188.25s and then try to do a little bit of a takedown? But I will let you guys know, did a little small stop out in Pfizer today. It just didn't want to go. And so I've been looking for it to kind of hold this 40 mark. We've been kind of hanging out here in the 39.90s for too long. So today I cut it. I've been just looking for that next move up. And I was going to hold towards the 39.80s, but it just doesn't seem like it wants to go. And over a certain amount of time today, I just determined, hey, I'm just going to cut this one, get out of the trade for right now, and we'll see what happens, right? Let me know what you guys think about the new layout with my screen down here, kind of hanging out, a little bit more wide cut. You guys let me know what you guys think. Always trying to make some improvements here on Start Swing Trading and do something different than like our other shows. Let's get to the action. You guys can keep throwing up stocks in the chat, and we'll take a look. What are you guys taking a look at the AMC? Is Amazon going to buy out AMC? I highly doubt this one, man. If not, I would probably take a shot. But you guys let me know. What do you guys think about that rumor out there for AMC to get bought by Amazon? That would definitely be interesting there. But let's take a look at what else is going on. I am taking another short. Let's go to Google here. This is going to be a very tight trade, team. Got in this one just slightly before when we got before the show started. I started seeing this kind of cut down here. One thing I started seeing was, well, if we get back above these levels, it's not going to be looking good. So at least I know my out. So I was looking for a kind of reversal right back down below the 100 mark. If that happens towards the close here, we're going to be looking good. If this comes back up through this 101.50 area and slightly above, let's say to the 101.60s, I'm going to get out on Google for a small loss. We'll see what happens right now. Let's go to another one. Of course, I'm taking a shot on the oil names, and this is going to more than likely stop me out. What I'm doing here on the oil games is I'm trying to give myself very tight risk, looking for the swing right back down. But looks like this is going to hit me on XOM. So be careful out there. I will get out of this one at 107.36. We're really close to it. We're about a penny away here from getting stopped out on that XOM trade. So we will give up a little bit of our oil gains. Of course, I've gotten like over 10% in oil in the last 2 weeks. So don't mind giving up a little bit. Just to put it in perspective, this is going to be about a 0.4% loss here. So not like even a full percentage point. We'll see what happens there on XOM if I do get stopped out. Also went back for Valero on the day, was break even, lost on some of the shares, gained on some of the shares, went back towards it as it started cutting back through the VWAP. We'll see what happens on this one if I get hit on Valero. All right, let's go to Lockheed Martin. This is another one that I've been looking at more on the longer term, just making sure that kind of we hold this pullback. Just want to continue to hold about 50% of this Friday move and then look to see if we can get that green day back to 476. We'll see what happens on this one. I like how it's holding the 471s. Of course, this is a smaller position for Lockheed Martin as it's pretty big, right? We'll see what happens. Mitch, afraid of the oil trade, 2-day run, oil over 5%? No, it's just being smart, right? EKS can't give up the gains, right? One thing that's very important is that it's okay to give up a little bit, but I'm not going to give up a big chunk of those gains, right? And I've already made the money, so we just got to be smart. It's okay to take some shots. It's not okay to give up those gains right back, right? And I think that the important part is knowing how to attack, get out, and if you want to get back in, it's okay. I'm getting back in. Will I take a small hit? Yes, small hits are okay. What I can't do is let this thing just get away from me and then have to get out with a big hit, right? So that's why I'm coming at it in the later part of the day after it already starts to show a little bit of a turn. And yesterday we did this. It kind of worked out. But this morning we got another lift. We'll keep watch on, of course, WTI to see if we can cut back down below that 72. That's the important price point for crude oil. No such thing as the house's money. Oh, there's always such thing as the house's money. Got to be able to play with it. You know it. Come on, man. House's money is the profits. That's all it is. All right. Miners sending Bitcoin to exchanges to dump, then fake pump it to draw its next liquidity. Yeah, I don't trust Bitcoin one bit or cryptocurrency right now, but that's just how it is. All right, Pins, Lucid, more layoffs, reality setting in instead of getting a bid. We'll see. Let's go to some of those stocks. Let's go towards the leaders and the laggards today. Of course, energy kind of leading us up for the second day, right? This is starting to get a little bit of a bounce. Will the oil names stay strong? That's one thing to think about, right? You guys see me trying to take it down again. But I'm really, really close to levels here, right? And I think that this is the important outlook too for me on like XOM. If we can reject these levels, not get back into the 108s, the 109s, then we can just come right back down through 100. We'll see. This is kind of that third resistance test here, a test through this kind of wick action, this trend action, and then we'll look to see if we get through here. Yeah, we could start looking to even see maybe this trade reverse. But for right now, it's right on resistance. We'll see if it gets knocked down here. Well, it's how it is, right? It's yours and you earned it. Yeah, that's true. Maybe not the house's money. Maybe your house's money. Your pain, your gain, your risk, right? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's never yours. It's yours. It's never the house's. You see, that whole term is that you are the house in this situation, right? The house's money to me is more, you've already taken it from the market. Now you are the house, right? But hey, to each his own, right? It's just a statement. We'll see what happens here in XOM. Will I get stopped out? I didn't get stopped on the move right there. We'll see if it turns back around. Google trying to get a little bit of a bounce there. Still hasn't gotten and cut me out. What's going on with the SPY here? SPY is right off of VWAP. Did we get Tesla to that level? Yes, we did. Tesla's there, team. I'm willing to take a little bit of a shot on this. Of course, I don't like to go too fast into Tesla here, but I'll take a little bit of a starter here. Let's see if I can get a fill. There we go. 188.25s on Tesla right now. Been looking for this trend line touch. So now we got to understand where's our next risk spot, right? Well, right here, if we come back into this 1881, I'm going to get out of this one at 189. So just to kind of put it in perspective, we'll see if we get a little bit of a stop out. That's about 0.5%. So just to kind of give it in perspective there, we'll see what happens on this Tesla trade. All right, let's see if we can get this one, and we'll see. It's not the easiest one, right? It's Tesla. It's going to be tough. We'll find out, team. All right, let me just set up my risk here. Give me a second, team. Boom. All right, we're set up there. We'll see what happens on Tesla. If the SPY continues to spike, we'll probably get stopped out on that one. Taking some shots. We'll see what happens. I went short there on the Tesla for the rejection here. So it's kind of like the 3 touches and then it rejects right back down here. But if it gets up to this level, that's where you get kind of your squeezing action. We'll find out, right? I mean, the SPY overall is trying to make a little bit of an up move. We'll look to see if we get that rejection in the next couple of minutes. I get scared when I get filled right away lately. Yeah, hammer. I got screwed earlier with some bad fills. So maybe this isn't a good thing that I'm getting the quick fills now. But I know what you mean by that statement. We'll see what happens, team. It's been a tough day. I'll tell you what. I have not felt like I'm in the zone today. I'm trying to trade, and that's okay. But just also trying to keep in mind what's going on, right? We'll see what happens there. And time to keep watching, right? We'll see what happens. Now you're getting that kind of indecision candle here. Let's see if we can get a bearish engulfing candle or something that can give us that nice downturn here towards the kind of the 394.60 spots. What we don't want to see is kind of a little push here towards 396. Yeah, that's going to get us out in a lot of trades. We'll see what happens here. I'm betting a lot on the short side, so that could definitely come back to bite me, or it could come back into play. We'll find out, team. That's what it's all about. It's a market, right? Let's go to different names today. Basic materials. An area that I was going to be looking at is I was looking at steel, and I was looking at X early on in the day. Let's see how it performed. It didn't do too bad. Got a little bit of an uplift here. You guys can see that. Not looking too bad on lift. We'll see. On steel, we'll see how this can kind of get up. And speaking of Lyft had a new CEO today. Let's take a look at that. All right, let's go to Lyft here. Lyft. Oh, man, this is why I don't trade Lyft, man. Oh, right back down. They don't like you. Looks like Uber also taking a hit. These don't look good at all, man. I would stay away from Lyft at all costs. Let's go to basic materials, though. I was looking silver having a decent day. Nice little bounce back. I remember when we were looking at this PAAS. That's just continuing to climb. GOLD continuing to climb today. Nice little pullback opportunity in gold yesterday. You guys were able to get that gold opportunity pullback. It just went right out the gates, right back up there towards 1850s, now towards that 1870s, which was Friday's highs, and we got through that. So definitely gold looking strong right now. We'll see what else is making moves here. Let's take a look there. Coal traders, BTU, of course, now getting a nice little up day. AMR getting about almost 3% up day. We'll see how these coal stocks rebound. AMR is definitely one that I'd keep on watch. Nice little 3 candle move here. This is the 3 white soldiers, right? White shoulders advancing move, right? We'll look to see if this can close into the green today, giving us higher lows, higher lows. I'll look for some pullback in coal, but nice little 3-day rally there for AMR. Industrial metals and minerals, was going to take a look at these today, of course, with the U.S. and Japan deal that came out. I thought these could run this morning. Brought them up on pre-market prep, and not a bad day there for PLL. Nice little lift here right out the gates. Nice little push there to 56 and looking like it wants to continue going. LAC, let's take a look at that one. That one's actually on the pullback right now towards around 21-23s. On this one, it seems like there's a lot of buying down there by the 20s. We'll look to see if it can continue the uplift. Not having the best day there on LAC. Let's go to some different ones here. LTHM was doing decent right out the gates, then pulled back significantly here as it started to pull back there. Let's go to MP Materials. You guys can see how that pushed up and slowly turned around. And one more for you guys, SQM definitely turning around there, not looking like it wants to get back there towards the 85. We'll find out what happens on these lithium names. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other names here. Let's go to some utility names. Of course, utility names have been strong as of late. NextEra Energy turning around, though, in the afternoon. And this looks to me like it's getting heavy, but it could be kind of an inverse head and shoulders. What do you guys think out there? Do you guys like this pattern on NextEra Energy, or do you guys think this is going to just drive it right back down? We'll see what happens on this name. Let's take a look at some other names in the utility names. You guys can take a look at like Duke Energy, right? Excel Energy. These are started trying to bounce back a little bit. These are utility names. Let's go to the industrial sector here, as that's actually doing a little bit of mixed signals here, right? You got Bowen with a really nice day. So Bowen trying to recover trying to get back up there towards kind of the 208 area. And what a nice little pullback opportunity towards kind of the 200s where you started to hold on Boeing. Can it continue climbing back there towards the 214s? We'll have to keep an eye on it. Another one that recovered, and it looks like we got some railroad action, getting some lift there. So you can see UNP getting a little bit of a lift. I know Jay mentioned some kind of mentions on railroads earlier in the day. So those actually did pretty decent there as they got the lift. Let's take a look at Honeywell. Honeywell into the green today. Let me see. Now it's starting to go into the red. It was in the green, at least from the open. We'll see what happens on that one. And seeing Deer and Cat just kind of hanging in there. They're not doing much, but they're not breaking either. So keep my eye on these. Will they do another cut down, or will they go ahead and bounce back? Seeing what happens there. And General Electric still doesn't want to turn around. This stock has just stayed incredibly strong this year. I'm actually truly impressed with the way that General Electric has been running. I mean, think about this. Since October, this stock has made almost 100% move here in General Electric. It's really impressive. We'll see what happens there. Hammer says, I got a piece of AMR earlier. Started size. There you go. We'll see what happens on that one. Oxy. We'll see. Warren Buffett, baby. Took a few of Para off the table at the open. Can't blame you. Let's take a look at Para. How has that one been? I know that this morning it was getting a little bit of a lift. Looks like that got hit hard out the gates here. Back down towards 2140s. We'll look to see if it catches a bounce. What's going on out there? How was your day, Carmen? Let me know. All right, let's keep going into some different stocks and definitely seeing a little bit of a turn action. Let's go to the SPY. Does that get back up above the VWAP? That's what we're taking a look at. We started getting a little bit of some downside action move. So a little bit of some turnaround here. Will we come back up through this level or crack on the downside around this kind of 394.80s? Just looking at that, and we'll find out soon enough. Google looks like it's starting to push back up after it got hit here in the morning. Now starting to come back here towards those 101.50s. Will probably get me out there as it comes through that 50. And just taking a look at some other trades here to see how those perform. XOM still hasn't stopped me out. Turned around right where it would have stopped me out at the 107.36. So we'll look to see if this comes right back through the 106.80s on the downside. Let's keep it going here. Defensive names now starting to pull back after a really strong day. I know I saw MKC, McCormick had a really nice open. Will this have a nice close? This is one to keep an eye on. It was a nice little move. It's kind of gone sideways, got a little sleepy. Will it make a little bit of a rally here towards the close? Maybe make a move to 83. I'll keep it on watch. We'll see what happens there. Take 2 seconds, right? Hit the like. Appreciate you, Chris. We'll see what happens there. I'm cheering for Powell. Let's get rate to 6%. Dang, Hammer. You want to really bring the hammer on the market. 6%. Yeah, we'll definitely be getting hit there. But, I mean, downside action right now. I won't be too mad at you. Have some real price discovery for this market. Ooh, we'll see there. Let's take a look here. Now we're finally starting to cut back through that 394.80 area. Can we get some downside continuation? Let's find out, team. It's a tough day. And I definitely got to say, at least this week, I haven't felt like I had the most edge. I did make a nice trade to kind of NVIDIA earlier in the week, but got stopped out on that break even. We talked about that yesterday. And maybe that would have been a nice position, but really haven't really felt the edge on this week. I've been taking a look to see technology turnaround. That happened, but today was kind of more of a washout look. So they didn't really give me too many opportunities to jump in on that. And then also taking a look at the financial services to see if those were going to cut down. But you can see they cut down later in the day, right? It was about like 1 p.m. when they finally started to break. JPM came back here to VWAP, started rejecting it. So that's what I've been kind of keeping my eye on to see if these banks are going to end weak. If they end weak, I feel like the SPY could come right back down, right? Because technology could just also reject and also come lower here. So we'll find out. Do we keep going above? Look at the Qs. They're a little bit stronger than the SPY. They're actually above the VWAP. We'll take a look to here if it rejects here and comes right back down here. But SPY is kind of a little bit below where the Qs are. And let's take a look just for the sake of it at IWM, a little weaker too. So IWM weaker than the SPY. The Qs are a little bit higher relative strength wise. They're up there towards 306.40s and right by the VWAP. Let's see if this comes back towards around like 305.80s here, or does it take out this triple wick kind of action? This is all on the 5-minute candle, so there is 3 wicks there. Will it take it out? Something to keep in mind. We'll see what happens there on the Qs. All right, what do you think about shorting Microsoft? Well, I'm not short Microsoft, but I'm short Google, so that's very similar trade, right? I mean, I'm not going to say it's the same trade, but you guys can see how Microsoft's been reacting on this push. Not liking to see that nice little push there because it could just continue going. Google at least not showing so much of strength there on the recent climb. But yeah, Microsoft a little bit stronger than how Google's chart looks right now, but to each his own, right? If you think this is going to bounce here, can't blame you. On the daily chart, you can see how the 9 EMA is kind of acting like support. And we could catch that 9 EMA and be right back up to the 280s. So you got to be careful here, especially when you're shorting tech names. I mean, tech names have been really strong. You're shorting strength, right? Whenever I short some strength, I definitely have to be really tight on my risk to reward to look for those washout moves, because a lot of times you're going to get this little chop move back. And I'd rather get stopped out small than let that thing get all the way back there, at least for me, towards, let's say, 280 if I was short here around the 274s for Microsoft. We'll see what happens. It is getting a little bit of a bounce, and it's a tough day. Indeed, the SPY, what will happen there? Will we cut back down, or will we just reclaim the VWAP? Just keeping an eye on the Qs to see what happens with that triple top area around the 106, like 45 area. We'll see. It's like 44, 45. We'll look to see if we get back through there. I think that's an important level to watch. All right, team. In a second, we're going to be getting into our interview. Like always, you guys smash the like. We got Michael Nos here, CMT, that'll be joining us. Of course, he was on recently, so definitely smash the like if you guys are excited to hear from Michael again. And we'll get into some stocks that he's looking at. Like always, we'll talk a little bit about the markets. You guys let us know what's on your radar in the chat. We got no problem taking a look. All right, seeing what you guys are writing out there. What else is being talked about? We see Microsoft ChatGPT. Man, that ChatGPT, sometimes it goes offline a lot, and that's the interesting part. Did you hear about the rap battle, Google Bard and Microsoft ChatGPT? No, I have not heard about that rap battle. I have to check it out. Zura, this is biotech. Very low liquidity here. And man, this got turned around. That is ugly. We just talked about kind of a triple top area. You can see the triple top area there in the kind of the 37s, 40s here for Zara. Don't know what this one does. It's a biotech. Be careful with those biotechs, team. They're hard to get. Gilead going up a little bit today. This is one that I was keeping an eye on yesterday. Now starting to get a little bit of a lift here. We'll see what happens. I know that Regeneron stayed strong after their kind of news. Sanofi has stayed strong. I was looking at another one that was kind of an island here, which was NVS. This was interesting earlier in the day. It was kind of a little floating island. Was going to look to see if we were going to make our way back towards these highs, back towards like kind of 93. On Monday, we had a 90.88 high, and we're seeing that pull back towards 90 as pretty attractive here for NVS. The only thing is I would have to keep off of kind of the support in the pre-market to see how that would hold. But not a bad move here, NVS. And this is also in the drug manufacturers. So the major ones as of late really getting a little bit of a lift. That's why I'm watching these stocks like Lilly, like Merck. Will they make a run? Lilly just put a nice bullish engulfing kind of candle here, really strength. Of course, it didn't really kind of claim the kind of the red candle there. But to me, that's a pretty strong candle. And now you're trying to get through kind of these closing prices and actually close back above that. I'll look to see if we can somehow cut below and then give us that nice run towards 340. Eli Lilly, one to keep in mind, right? We also filled this gap here to the left-hand side. We filled that and have kind of like just hung out there for a little bit. Not too bad price consolidation in those levels. Now let's look to see if they step up and drive it higher. We'll see what happens on Lilly and some of the healthcare names. that's going to do it for at least my stock outlooks for today. I'm going to go ahead and get to my guest here. You guys, like always, smash the like button. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on Michael Nos. How we doing, Michael?
Hey, Mitch, how's it going?
It's good to have you on today. It's ready to talk about the markets, and it's been a tough one as of late.
Yeah.
I always try to admit, when I'm feeling like I'm in the zone, feeling like when I'm not in tune with the markets, and it's been a tough one as for me, especially I would say this week, maybe last week a little bit better, but the uncertainty, right? It's just tough to deal with. I feel like very binary situations right now that a lot of people are thinking, right? Either the banks just collapse or maybe the tech trade just takes off with it. It's kind of hard right now. Of course, we saw tech turn around a little bit today. What have you been seeing, Michael?
Well, yeah, and I think the technicals confirm your theory of you don't know what's going to happen next. And looking at and I saw you going over the spies and the queue and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We are inside the FOMC candle that we had a couple days ago, and that FOMC candle is inside what I'm calling the bank blow up range, which is the highs and the lows when the bank started going crazy. And then that range is inside the low of the bear market so far and the high of the bear market so far. So we are in a range, in a range, in a range. And then today it's just got this little tiny doji candle. So I always talk about how this is really important for new traders and everything out there. Is the hardest part of trading is not trading. The hardest part of trading is knowing, like you were talking about, when you don't have an edge, when there's nothing going on in the market and you have to just kind of sit on your hands. So for me, as always, I'm focusing on relative strength. I'm basically saying if the SPY is going to be caught inside this range, that's in a range, it's in another range, what I need to do is find stuff that is well outside of its range and start to play that to broaden my horizons against the stuff that's going to be moving with the SPY, your big tech names and the other SPY names, and then kind of go from there and say, hey, what doesn't care that we're all stuck in a range? What's getting action right now? What's moving right now? And it's not normally how I like to play. I'm more of a kind of old school technical setup guy, but if we're going to be stuck in a range, I got to go elsewhere. And then I need to also, you need to understand when it's the time to put on the gas and really hold your winners and try to go for the throat and see if you can get some really good wins out of it. And when is it time to just chill out? And if you're up a little bit of money, you take that little bit of money and you're happy for it and you move on to fight other battles.
Definitely. And it's been that type of market as of late. I call it the take your money and run type of market because it seems like it's as of late. If you can see anything, pop up in there, it seems like you could go running with it because the chop will definitely get to you. But let's start taking a look into some charts, taking a look at what you're seeing out there. Of course, these don't have to be positions that Michael's in. He's just going to show us also what he's looking at and what he sees out there. The same way I like to point at and look for relative strength. Where's rotation? What's not strong too could also be an important thing. Let's talk a little bit about it, Michael. What you got for me today?
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of names out there, right? So this is trade ideas. I was doing some scanning. One of my favorite things is a relative strength algorithm. So what this is doing, it's just like I talked about. It's the market's smack dab in the middle of a range. I want to find stuff that's well outside of that range, things that could really get going. And really, I wrote it all down for you here. I need to bring that up as well. But there's a bunch out there, right? So you have to hunt for it, but there's still some out there. So right away, I see ASO that we were chatting back and forth on Twitter about.
ASO.
Yeah, I've mentioned this one a few times, and I really...
Full disclosure, I went there last weekend. I just bought some more stuff.
Oh, that's good. Keep, because full disclosure, I have a little bit of this from ages and ages ago.
Yeah.
But I'm actually watching it just over this base right here. If we can get going just kind of above this base, the thing that I really like about this one and that I point out all the time is the massive short float, right? So we're showing 27% almost. So nearly a third of the float is short. So, if you're looking for high short float names, which is what this scan is, this is what you want to look for, right? You don't want to look for stuff where the short's winning, right? Because they don't care. They have no incentive to cover. Where the shorts are losing, that's where you really want to focus in. So I have ASO here, this candle actually right here was earnings. So as a technician, I'm not going to be one to dive in and take a look at the earnings play or, the report and what they said or whatever. All I care about is that the market liked it. So it gapped up that day. It ran quite a bit. It closed at new all-time closing highs. And ever since that earnings report, it starts to base. And I love this setup. And the reason I love this setup so much is that I worked in the hedge fund space for around 10 years. So I know kind of how they operate. And they don't have the flexibility advantage we have, right? What they're doing is they're slowly, they've got a bunch of nerds that are going to sit down, they're going to read every word of the report, and they're going to write their own report and send it to a manager who sends it to a manager, and then eventually they're going to pull the trigger. And they're not going to buy on that earnings day. What they're going to do is, as they're going to say, okay, we're interested, we like the earnings, whatever. Every time it dips, that's when they're going to buy. That's where, tools like anchored VWAP and things like this really come into play. And you can see every time it hits its anchored VWAP from right before the earnings report, it bounces. So that shows me that there could be some institutional accumulation going on right here. So I just want to wait for confirmation, which is just a break and a close above, say $66 a share. And I'm going to be in this one hoping we break this this earnings range and continue on, because the only thing we know is all of that 27-ish% of the short float, they're all wrong. This thing's at all-time highs. And at some point, you've got to cover if you're wrong about that.
Definitely. I think ASO was, I mean, we had the lines drawn since last time you were here, and we were looking to see if this could continue to climb. I agree with you on that outlook too. You got to look for opportunities like that where you feel like, yeah, this is just keeps climbing that wall and gives you those pullback opportunities. That's why I like the hourly charts so often, because a lot of times you'll see these do like nice little deeper time frame pullbacks to that hourly support. And this one's been on that hourly support plenty of times. They're giving you that opportunity, especially near kind of like that 63 area where we've cut through before just slightly, and nice little opportunity to get even just back up towards the top of the range and giving you that opportunity for the break. So it's a nice looking chart there. And this has just continued to climb. I don't know why there's such a high short interest in this one, but hey, who knows who else could be out there trying to bid to the downside on this.
Yeah, and it's I can't understand it either, because we have some more. I'm not a fundamental guy, but I keep some of this data on the screen just to watch, and it's quarterly earnings growth is what you want to see, especially if you're kind of a William O'Neill style of things. So they're growing their revenue, they're growing their earnings, they're making money. Yeah, I don't know why they're hitting new all-time highs. I don't know why you want to be short this either, but hopefully they're stuck. And hopefully they get a margin call one day when we're in it. We can make some good money off that. And then also in the same kind of vein, it's Wingstop. So I don't know if we have these up in Canada. I've never been to one, so maybe you can tell me how it is. But 16% short. So same kind of not as crazy, but still pretty good short. They had earnings, I believe, on this day right here, and same kind of thing. It's just basing after that earnings play. You go to the weekly chart. This one's not, as clean. It had this kind of crazy dip. I don't know what happened here from 150 to 50 and then back up, but we're right back up these all-time highs. So all of this 15% is short and they're wrong. So, I love these nice little bases that you can play off of. Again, I'm becoming an anchored VWAP snob after my chats with Brian Chan here, but same thing. Right after before that earnings report, it pulls back into it, finds support there, bounces off, and this thing could get going. And there's the concept, and this is an old trader thing, of the $100 roll and the $200 roll, basically just meaning usually the first time a stock breaks $100, you can get to 120. I don't know if this is an old wise tale, if there's anything to it. Same with $200. This thing can get through here and then it can get through $200, then maybe it'll roll to 240 or something. But just a great looking tight consolidation on this one. I really think it could get going, and then again maybe these 16% of people can get nervous again.
Yeah, all right. Just to give our viewers disclosure there, got out of that Valero trade. We'll see what happens on more, but the Qs are trying to get through that kind of triple top on the 5. We'll see if we get through that level on the wing zone. What do you guys say out there? Let's rate wing zone 1 to 10 out there, team. What do you guys think? I'll give it like a 7 or a 6 or a 7. It's just like kind of your regular win, right? I mean, nothing special, but hey, at the Detroit headquarters and for Benzinga, yeah, there's definitely probably some wing zone there. Just to give the insight there, but hey, we'll see. Wing zone, that one's an interesting one. Definitely holding up there. We'll see if it holds that 180 price point there. What else you got for me, Michael?
Oh, I could go all day. So one thing that a couple of the names I think I sent over to you were from China. So I kind of want to preface this with FXI here. And so this chart you see on the bottom of my screen, this is just the pink line is always the S&P 500, and then the dark blue line is just showing me whatever I'm looking at above, right? So it's a relative strength chart, just showing me what's doing well and what isn't. So over the last little bit, not too long, but we've actually had some relative strength in China, in both KWeb and FXI, which is your large cap China name. When the SPY's just kind of been chopping sideways, right? We have a little bit of a breakout and some relative strength here in FXI. And that's what I want to focus on always is get me that relative strength, show me where the money's flowing into as opposed to where it's just sitting on the sidelines or flowing out of. And so then on one of the scans I was building was actually this TME or Tencent Music.
Tencent.
And yeah, it's kind of, you could call this a cup and handle, I say, or you could call it some sort of, let's just actually have this draw them for me. There you go. Yeah, you could call this cup and handle, the technical with the anchored VWAPs and a VWAP pinch, or just, your standard bull flag. But something happened. It moved from $3 to near 9. So a triple off of its lows. And I like that because that gets everyone's attention, right? The William O'Neill disciple in me wants to see, okay, something happened. I don't really care what. It got everyone's attention. It had this big push up. And then for weeks now, I'm talking almost the beginning of the year, this thing's just been slowly consolidating back. But it's up 4.5% today. It's up off this little dragonfly doji, I think would be the name of last week. So if this thing could get going, maybe it's time to get into China. Now, I always, and I know you do this as well, but you always got to preface, right? You do have that geopolitical risk, right?
Good old China risk.
Yeah, you always just got to go.
Yeah, man, it's hard to play those, but I feel like I always like kind of rent those. But yeah, you always are like, I just hope I don't read news in the morning, right? As long as I can make it through the morning, you're usually good. Because if it's in the intraday, I mean, you probably can deal with the catalyst, right? You'll probably hear about it. You'll be able to react. When it gets tough is that overnight action where it's like, oh, we come in the morning and we get, like I used to call it, China. You just get China. And I think I agree with you. I like stocks that do that too, like give you that nice little breakout look, but then don't just immediately retrace it, right? Like there's so many traders trying to look for immediate retracements and then another takeoff. That's actually not what I want to see. If I want to see a stock continue to uptrend, I want to see it just hang out at the top of the range there and just start getting a little bit sleepy. Like you said, get it in everybody's radar and then let everybody forget about it for a second.
Well, and the psychology behind that's huge, right? Because if you have a spike and a drop, that's usually retail, right? They did some sort of news event and everyone was FOMOing in, and then the institutions took the other side and crushed the stock and crushed retail. But on something like this, where it breaks out and then as it's pulling back, it's not able to pull back very much. Again, we got to understand that large institutions, they buy on dips. They buy as things pull back. They can't chase the market. They're too big. So when it holds, what's probably going on, again, we'll never know for sure because they're hiding everything, but what's probably going on is there's some standing orders out there that says, hey, we like Tencent, it's recently made this move. We're not going to chase it up here, but as it comes back, I want you to start buying it. So that's what basically even the profit takers, because you got to imagine if it triples off its lows, there's got to be some profit takers that are coming in, but it doesn't matter because as it's pulling back, there's some institution that's kind of laying that groundwork. So I'm going to wait for a breakout because my advantage as a retail trader is I can wait for it to break out and I can pop in and I can, if I'm wrong, I can get out minutes later, or hours later, or a day later. But I went through a lot of my winning trades, and my best trades are this kind of move, something that has a double or almost a double off its lows and then just sits and builds up that energy for a period of time. You're right. Retail forgets about it. Institutions are buying it. Retail will FOMO back into this thing if it ever gets over like 20.
Yeah, and that's how it happens a lot of times. They just forget about it, and all of a sudden it's back on the gapper scan, and they're like, "Oh, I remember seeing 10 cent."
Yeah.
Well, that's usually by the time Michael's hitting the sell button, baby.
Yeah, time to feed the ducks.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. And if you put out bread, they come running, man.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Micron. What do you think about Micron's coming with earnings tonight, right? I mean, it started working its way back. I felt like, they were coming for the laggards in the technology names. Of course, we've been seeing how NVIDIA and AMD have run just taken off. So last week, I was like, yeah, maybe they come for the laggards. They came for like Micron, Marvell, another one that I saw kind of bounce off the bottom there. And now it's kind of questioning. I mean, Micron was the first one to warn us, right? In the technology names, the semiconductor names. That was the first one to take that big down dip. What do you think about this earnings coming up?
Well, again, my philosophy is on relative strength, right? So my philosophy is that my job is to ride the tails of the institution, right? And so I changed this chart below that I was just talking about. Now this pink line is the semiconductors and the blue line's Micron. So you can see we've got some like a lot of relative underperformance in Micron versus semis. So if it can't get going before earnings, I really don't see it going after. Now, earnings are binary. They could come out with something that no one was ever expecting. But although the chart looks good with this nice rounded bottom, it's put in almost a year at this point of a bottoming process, which, if you want to buy bottoms, this is how you do it. You wait for the accumulation. You wait for people to get bored of it, right? The whole Brian Shannon, if they don't scare you out, they'll wear you out saying. And, if it can get and hold over 65, maybe. But the fact that it's underperforming the whole semiconductor industry, for me, that makes it a little bit worried. I'd rather go where the money is flowing into as opposed to flowing out of. And that's like on semiconductor ON, right? If you compare this chart to the semiconductor index, this one's been uptrending and it's pulling back to a breakout point, whereas MU is kind of on the bottom. So there's people who trade completely opposite from me and they want to buy the laggers. And if it was working for you, great. But for me, I just want to go after strength.
Love it. And I love how you're showing it there too. I like that bottom chart there. A lot of people watch tons and tons of candlesticks. They look at the spiders, but there's nothing like laying it over and looking at that return, right? I think it's very important to kind of take a look at. There's not many traders that do this. And I think that if you're a newer trader and you're wondering what that bottom left is, it's a nice comparison, right? You're using more intermarket analysis there to show you the strength. And so newer traders, if you're looking at that and you're interested, definitely reach out to Michael. I'm sure he'll tell you a little bit more about how you guys can get that on Trade Ideas or other services. I'm sure he can help you out with that. But definitely check that out. And I know that you have a couple of tools that are on Trade Ideas too, right?
Oh yeah. No, we're a scanning and alerting service, kind of like, Benzinga is the king of the news and letting you know what's going on there. We focus on the technical and the scanning side of things. So if you want anchored view app work, if you want high short float interest, I'm more of a swing trader, but we really do specialize in a lot of intraday action. So we can show you where the volume spike is coming, when it's happening. Then maybe go over to your Benzinga. You try to figure out why, whether or not it's going to go. But yeah, we do scanning, we do alerting. You can trade through the platform with a couple of the brokers we have. It's really a full suite. So we can do a lot. We can do almost everything what you need, except news. But hey, that's what Benzinga's there for.
Yeah, I love it. Definitely check it out, team. You guys can catch in the description below Michael's Twitter and definitely hit him up. If you guys have any more questions about trade ideas, I'm sure he can help you out. If you guys want to check it out a little bit more, reach out to Michael. We'll definitely have you back on, and enjoy always catching your chart reviews. Last Friday that you were on, we actually shifted over. So if you guys want to catch Michael, definitely give him an ad on Twitter. He definitely goes through some charts all the time, and he has fun with it. And you guys can ask what charts you guys are looking at. So check that out with Michael. We'll bring you back. Have a good one, my friend.
Talk to you soon, buddy. Have a good one.
Take care. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and we'll wrap up here soon. The Qs are pushing a little bit, so I'll get back to my charts here. Let's take a look here how the action's going as we are getting a little bit of a push up. Was looking at that Micron also getting a little bit of a lift, and the SPY right back to that VWAP, right? We did cut down through that 394 and a little bit more chop action. It just seems like we're chopping around often here. Still got that XOM. We'll see what happens on that one. It looks like it could stop me out at any moment with this lift in the Qs, especially that Google probably going to stop me out through the 101.58, but we'll see. If I don't get stopped out here, I'll just hold on to see what happens tomorrow. It's been that type of day for me. I haven't felt like I've been on top of things, but hey, there's just been a lot of chop action. Look at JPM come all the way down there. Bounces, rejects the VWAP, comes right back down, now right back through that VWAP. So a lot of mixed signals here, but the SPY closing actually strong here. And we could get right back there in the opening price. Opening price, 395.52. Will we get there? We'll find out. 351. Got about 9 minutes left here. Could start seeing some strength here. All of a sudden just start pushing. And yeah, I'll get stopped out on a lot of names. We'll find out, right? It hasn't been the best day for me, but we'll see what happens on like Lulu. Lulu taking off here before their earnings. This one, actually, I could kind of look for like that good earnings report in this one. I know Nike didn't have a bad report, right? That got the spike, but came right back down. We'll see what happens. Does this help Crocs also get back up there? We'll see. Foot Locker, how's that one doing? It's starting to recover a little bit. Lulu, will it take off today? We've got earnings after the bell. Doesn't look like too bad of a move. I'm definitely going to take it now because it's just too far. But Cal-Maine Foods also going to be reporting after the bell today. So keep your eyes on that one. And then Restoration Hardware, I think, is going to be also reporting. So there's a lot to catch tonight. SPY now really starting to get the motor going. You see JPM take a little bit of a leap. The Qs take a little bit of a leap. Now going to see the stops probably get hit as we're starting to get a little bit of a move up. We'll find out what happens here, but definitely the wall of worry, man. We are at least not cracking on the SPY. I'll say at least that. Like, I know that a lot of people are thinking that there's going to be some more bank concerns, but we're just hanging in there right now. And I feel like this is just all about what? Well, we don't know if there's going to be more bank concerns. So we'll see if we finally end up making that move to 405, 410. Of course, if we do make that run, yeah, we could get right back to 410, 420s. And who knows, we could be in a bull market. I'll tell you one thing. There's a lot of still question out there if there is more bank concerns or not. And that's where it gets really difficult, especially in long-term investing here. And day trading and swing trading, at least we can get out, right? When you're in kind of in that investor mentality and you're trying to get in some money right now, do we all of a sudden start seeing an influx of money from that kind of the tax money that's coming, right? I know that tax money is coming soon. A lot of people probably already got their taxes back. So we'll see if we get some little push or not. It's just been hanging out there in the throwback look. We'll see if we get back to 400 or do we get the bank concerns, right? I mean, KRE has just been hanging out there. Hasn't done much. But I haven't heard anything else about what was going to happen on FRC, right? Is this one going to be the next one to disappear? We'll have to wait and find out. You guys catch this tomorrow on, of course, pre-market prep. We'll find out what is going on in the markets. If you guys got any other stock you guys want to take a look at, go ahead and throw it up. If not, I'm going to wrap up the day here. DAC is trying to get a little bit higher too. This one just continued strength and just continuing to climb and climb and climb. what a good stock deck has been since the 2020. And what a monster move. I mean, this has been a 436% move. Sometimes it's not always the main name that you see climbing that wall, right? Like ASO. I don't think anybody was thinking about buying this really on when it IPO'd. It was at $13. This is $63, team. That's almost a 400% move there in ASO. There's so many stocks that sometimes we just miss because we're focusing on the bigger names. Well, clearly, we've been seeing some of these getting that nice big lift and continuing to push. FRC tomorrow, says the Crow, to 20. We'll have to find out. Will they get the lift? We'll find out. Gold and silver are climbing the wall of worry on bank concerns. Yeah, isn't that funny there? But yeah, I mean, gold, look at that. It just keeps climbing up. That's more inflation, I think. But who knows out there, man? It's a tough market right now. I'll tell you right now, I don't know what to think. You know, I know that the real concern is the banks, at least for right now. The real concern is the Fed money printing and inflation. I don't think so. I think it's the banks. But hey, to each his own. I'm going with more of the experience out there from what I hear. I know that I know nothing in the bank crisis situation. I don't know if it's going to get worse or better. The only thing that I can do is kind of rely on the price action. And we have been hanging in there and not really just getting crushed. So that's the hard part. Micro tragedy, says Hammer. Hey, it very much could be. Smoke tuna, BEME, or BMEA. Wow. Biotech stock just ripping, man. This is strong. I don't know what happened here, but nice climbing the wall of worry there. Look at that trend. Oh, that's a nice trend line there. Really held there on the pullbacks, continued the up move. This one hadn't been on my radar, but some biotechs getting a nice little uplift as of late. Not a bad stock. Did I jump back into AAL? No, I have not yet, Daniel, just because of the worry out there. And I might miss it again because of the worry out there. Maybe I need to take my shot. I'll tell you one thing. I did buy an American Airlines flight myself for my honeymoon coming up in April. But hey, we'll see what happens in American. I do like it in the 14 area. I was talking about this area in the past. I've tried to buy it in the past in this spot. I'm fighting myself, Daniel. We'll see what happens. I don't got a piece yet. I'll let you know, my friend. I was watching it today. UAL was a little bit stronger, and I'm keeping an eye on that one. You can see here how it's kind of closing and giving you that nice little lift. So I'm going to watch UAL, AAL, Jets overall, global ETF, right? This is the kind of the airlines ETF. You can see how similar it looks. Jets looks to American Airlines. Very similar, right? Those look very similar. So that's why I like to look at AAL and Jets. And Jets could be a way to maybe pairs trade it. We'll see. I know Easy would know a little bit more about that, but it's interesting how close they are. Let me take a look there. I heard Saylor paid back Silvergate and bought more Bitcoin. Oh, man. Did he really? Oh, man. I'll see what happens there in MicroStrategy. I have no position, but I want to hear a little bit more about that MicroStrategy outlook. I've talked to Michael Saylor. I'm going to have to try to get him on again, Hammer, and see what he thinks. The banks are 100% fine because they're backstopped by the government. The real concern is the dollar collapse from the Fed money printing to fund the backstops. I don't know, man. Arden, at least that's not what I hear out there, at least. But maybe you know more than I do. Who knows? If you do, my friend, reach out to me because I want to know. Because right now, I have no idea where this market's going. Sometimes I feel like I have an edge. Right now, it's not it, team. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Smash the like. Hit the like, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I do got a great guest for us tomorrow. And stay tuned, team. There's going to be some great guests for the rest of the week. I do want to let you guys know who will be on tomorrow. Christian Fromhertz, of course. And then on Thursday, I'm trying to get Tim Quast on here on Thursday. And then Friday, I'll try to get to Scott Brown. Scott Brown was actually somebody that told us about the regional bank concerns before any of this actually happened. So definitely want to get to Scott Brown on Friday. Don't miss that right here. Start swing trading. You don't want to go anywhere, team. Hit the like. I'll see you guys bright and early on pre-market prep. And it is Tuesday today, so come check out some Cannabis Insider action that's starting up in just about a minute.